This content is brought to you by iTrust Capital, which is a great platform that allows you to easily invest in crypto without worrying about taxes or fees. iTrust Capital allows you to invest in crypto through an individual retirement account or IRA. IRAs are tax sheltered accounts, which means all of your crypto is tax free and can even grow tax free over time. The process of signing up with iTrust Capital is very easy. They have a mobile app. They have 25 plus cryptocurrencies. They have full support, a dedicated team ready to help you. And it is free. And once again, 100% free to sign up with iTrust Capital. There are no hidden fees and there's no monthly subscription or membership. They also have great security. They utilize Coinbase custody for all their custodial services. So you don't have to worry. It is institutional grade crypto custody that they are using. This is a great platform. Once again, it is free to sign up. So visit the link in the description and go check it out. If you sign up with my link, you get a $100 funding bonus. So once again, check the link in the description. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Kaj Leroy, who's the co-founder and CEO of XPUNKs and onXRP. Kaj, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
Well, I'm excited to speak with you. You're doing some very cool things building on the XRP Ledger. And just recently, I interviewed Ripple's David Schwartz. We talked a bit about XPUNKs and so forth. So great to have you on. Let's start with your background. Tell us where you're from and where'd you grow up?
I'm from the Netherlands, The Hague. It's a coastal city in the Netherlands where the government is and the parliament and all that. I have a business background, marketing bachelor's, and I did a strategic management master's in Rotterdam. It's a different city, a little bit down south, The Hague. I have been an entrepreneur my whole life, actually. I founded another startup when I was doing my master's. It was more of a marketplace for small tasks, and that can be done by students in the form of like flexible work. We launched after like a year and a half building a team of 4 with 2 interns. And then at 6 months later, we were still doing like about €4 in revenue monthly. So that was not very feasible. So yeah, thankfully the XPUNKs went a different route.
What was your first encounter with crypto or NFTs? What was, did someone tell you about it? Did you read about it online?
So there was an interesting thing. My first experience with crypto was in 2016, where I was looking into privacy coins. In the beginning when Bitcoin really started going was with the whole Silk Road thing, and then in 2016 there was like a very big hype around privacy coins. And I remember Verge, they were the first token to that's what they said, to issue, it's called Red Protocol, and it was supposed to be enabling true private transaction. You could choose between private and non-private. So I saw this, I got in very early at like 0.3 cents. And 3 weeks later, John McAfee started shilling Verge, and it went up, I think, like times 150 in about like 2 or 3 months. And I rode it all the way up, and then I rode it all the way down. And it was my first moment of realization. Okay, this is pretty cool, and I'm gonna take some time to actually do my due diligence and research and about the team behind it. And when I started actually looking into the teams behind all the crypto projects, that's actually when I stumbled on XRP. I remember this news article, I think it was early 2017, where there was this bank that had like, I think it was like 40 or 50 million in a transaction from New York to Australia. Don't quote me on the details, but it was something like that, and it was like for a fraction of a penny in like fees. So I'm like, hey, this is interesting. So, and that's when I actually moved all the funds that I had left from Verge into XRP, and maybe like sitted it out like a year or a year and a half, and that's when I started diving back into crypto. Wow. And yeah.
I remember Verge, and I remember the John McAfee days. Rest in peace, John McAfee. I think he got a little bit caught up in the altcoins. I know at one point he was a big Bitcoin advocate, and then he went into all kinds of different altcoins. Tell us what you hold in your crypto portfolio as of today.
As of today, I'm holding some Rune, some Avalanche, XRP, obviously. I am holding some Sandbox, and Omni Real Estate. I don't know if you know it, but it's our CTO has done a side project before, and he's working on the project as well. So it was out of support of him. We invested some in there as well.
So tell us about the genesis of the idea for XPUNKs and what made you decide to start the NFT project and as well as choose the XRP Ledger.
So I always liked the internet culture behind things. So I remember the days when I was 6, when I was in the backseat of my parents' car playing Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Sapphire. That's like when the really pixelated animated games came into fruition. And I just remember being hooked about this whole gaming thing. I'm a diehard gamer since I was young. Don't have the time currently anymore for it, but between the ages of 14 and 20, I've done my share. And then when you're like in this gaming culture, you also get into internet culture because those things go hand in hand. You know, gamers tend to not go outside as much, like me at that time, and you just hang around. Like when you're done with the game, you just hang around forums and just internet. And that's also when I remember that when the Ripple announced their 350 million creator or 250 million creator grant, and then I was already talking with Bastian about NFTs for about 3-4 months, but we just didn't want to do it for OpenSea. I'm not a big Ethereum fan, but I do like NFTs. But it just feels it needs to be more accessible for anyone, basically. You know, I found it a very inaccessible way with all those, with everything around MetaMask, with all you have to set up the gas fees manually, the transaction speed, and you can make mistakes there, as I did as well. Lost some money on there as well, just like wrong settings. And that's when then after Ripple announced the creator fund, I just thought, okay, the NFTs are not there yet, but it's gonna go big because I trust the company Ripple, and when they make an announcement to make an investment in an ecosystem, 250 million, there's a good chance that will become a big ecosystem. Not necessarily the biggest, but I'm a big XRP holder, so I hope and I believe it will be. But so that's when I thought, like, okay, how about what can we do to be a first mover in this market when it's not there yet? Without being an insider, because I had zero contact with Ripple before starting it or whatsoever. So you had to be creative. And I thought, okay, so whitelisting, there's all these projects, they want to build hype around their whitelisting. So they start growing a community before the actual NFT comes out, and then you can get whitelisted. And there's this whole hype around whitelist. So I thought, okay, how about you already have your spot secured and you just tokenize that aspect. So if you hold the token, you can also sell your spot on the secondary market, which makes it interesting. So so you tokenize your waiting spot in the line, basically. So I thought, okay, I'll just give it a go. We made a couple artwork. We issued a token, launched it. Within 2 hours, we had like 3,000 followers on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, this is my new life now. And we just dove into it. And I remember the first 3 weeks that were unbelievable. It was crazy. I think we were doing at least about 20 to 22 hours a day in work, and then we slept like 4 hours. And not because we were not tired or whatsoever, just because we're so full of adrenaline of everything that was going on. And I could sleep any longer. And even I dreamed about everything that was going on. And like we just took a chance, being creative, and we just built everything around that. And that's how we got here.
Pretty cool. And that's amazing how it took off, you guys just launching it, and then all of a sudden, maybe the folks on social media started recognizing it, your following, and all those things went up. Tell us about XPUNKs. Is it similar to, I think it's the cypherpunks, the other type of NFTs, if I'm not mistaken, or CryptoPunks? CryptoPunks. Is it similar to that, or is there a different style to it? Can you tell us about the artwork?
Yeah, for sure. So it is different than the CryptoPunks. Obviously, we are inspired by the CryptoPunks, and that's mainly again back to that internet culture aspect. It is, in my opinion, CryptoPunks, their art style, the punk art style, basically, because it's an art style in itself, resembles internet culture. And that's what we like so much about it, because there's so many pixels you can work with, but if you get creative, you can actually create a lot, as the CryptoPunks showed us, basically. So we did create an entire new series. All the attributes are completely new, except the hair of Bradley Punkhouse. That's one attribute we used from them. However, we're not putting it in the original selection, because we don't want to copy their artwork and sell it, and but we do have it in our Bradley Punkhouse, and that's more like as an honor to them from what they stand for and what they achieved in the time being, because we respect them a lot, obviously. But we work like with shadows and a little bit more detail, and yeah, it's a different style. It's different, yeah.
And where can users view and purchase these NFTs?
So, like I said before, it is still a token as of now. We're waiting for XLS20, as David Schwartz explained in your last interview. So we want to wait for XLS20. There is another protocol, it's called 14D, XLS 14D, made by Wietse. However, it's dismissed. Basically, that's what the D stand for. So they don't want to. I don't want to use their old dated tech, basically, because you have to set up manual trust lines for each NFT, and it overloads the network. So it's not what it's a hack, basically, as Wietse calls it, which is pretty cool how he did it. It's really cool what he did. However, it's we want to wait for the good tech, which is more scalable, more sustainable for the whole entire ecosystem. And in the meantime, we're just gonna keep creating value until XLS20 launches, and then on day one we will mint.
Very cool. And then you're also building onXRP. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I can. So what happened was when we issued the XPUNK token, I think about within the first 3 days, maybe 20 or 30 projects followed. Everybody saw an opportunity, and they just followed in the same way. As you see in many, it's pretty funny. If you still look at many white papers that are currently launched by all these NFT projects, you see a lot of resemblances with our own white paper, which obviously it's completely fine. And so this caused this whole network effect, and also a whole network effect within scammers, basically scamful activity. What happened was, it's like issuing a token on the XRP Ledger is very easy, which is good, but can also be bad. And then saying that you're actually going to be minting an NFT afterwards, it's an easy thing to say. And if you copy some artwork from the internet, you say it's yours, and you're just tell a story around it. And then you saw a lot of rug pulls happening in the beginning. So we thought, what if we create a safe environment for both projects and also for investors in NFTs, basically for holders? What if we do that? More of a curated NFT marketplace, an ecosystem that is of a higher value and higher standard than your usual NFT marketplace, because there you can already launch without having the actual artwork. And we wanted to tackle that in a safe way, as we wanted to create the market more accessible by making it more safe. And that's what we did. So what we do is we actually dive into, we set up listing requirements with the community beforehand. And if a project applies for our website and then they adhere to those requirements, we go into a one-on-one interview with these people. And then afterwards they get listed. They actually have to dox themselves towards us, so we know, okay, if you show your face to us, there's less big of a risk that you're gonna rug pull. We're not saving the data or whatsoever, but it's just more of to build trust. Obviously, we cannot promise no rug pulls, because we all know what happened with BitConnect, and they were quite open by what they did. Yes. So we were just trying to make it as risk-free as possible, and accordingly educate people along the way, because we have a whole content hub. I think there's about 70 articles live currently, just to explain the XRP Ledger, blockchain, XRP, and NFTs at large to both educate and create a more accessible space for everyone. And we're going to be launching version 2 in the next 2 weeks or something. And that's an actual complete platform of also a higher standard than we currently have.
Very cool. Now, I know you talked about like waiting for XLS 20 to roll out and doing some additional things. Anything else on the roadmap for 2022 that you can share or can give a hint towards?
Well, I assume that XLS 20 launches this year, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. So hopefully, as many projects gonna be minting through us, we offer a service from Pastel, which is another blockchain where we can actually identify duplicate NFTs, again with our vision to create a higher standard for NFTs. And then we're gonna be launching a cool play to earn game. It's not so far out. We haven't announced anything yet. Nobody knows. So this is the first time that people will be hearing from it. But it's in about, I hope, in the next 2 months, and it's cool. And then with the XPUNKs, we got the creator fund from Ripple to actually build something very comprehensive. I cannot go into much detail yet, but it's gonna be big. It's gonna be VR enabled, and it's gonna be focused on gamers. So without saying it, you can probably understand where I'm going. Yeah. More info soon, but it's going to be really cool. That's awesome. Then and then we have an NFT marketplace. It's looking top notch. We have about 6 people just merely on UX UI to really make this customer journey as seamless as possible. We want to create that same NFT hype that Ethereum saw and Solana saw. We want to get all those people to XRP. It makes sense. There's no minting fees. It's a lot faster. It's a lot cheaper. So in my opinion, it's a lot better. So I think it would be an easy choice if we make this ecosystem accessible and easy to understand for new people to bring in their liquidity towards all these different projects that currently are building on the XPL.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited for those respective updates, and I can't wait to see them. And of course, once they roll out, and I would love to have you back on to talk about them. Of course.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Awesome. I want to talk about the NFT market at large. Obviously, you're in this space. You're building. What do you think about how the market has grown so significantly, and it seemed to be a boom of in the market of NFTs and so many things happening? What are your thoughts and perspective on how things have grown so fast?
Do you mean on the XRPL or in blockchain at large?
At large, I think the NFT space at large.
So I think it's a little bit comparable with the ICO boom when in 2017, when people start to really get a feeling of cryptos and investing in cryptos. And I think a similar thing is happening currently with NFTs. I do think we're in a bit of a bubble with NFTs. However, I also 100% believe that NFTs are here to stay. And I think that the utility-driven NFTs or the really collectible NFTs, it's a big market that can still grow a lot, in my opinion. And then you also have the Metaverse, obviously, which is going to be a huge market soon as well. But yeah, no, I think it's merely because people, always with new technologies, you see a really big spike, it goes down, and then it steadily climbs up. Same happened with internet, only a lot less fast. And you had the whole platform revolution with Amazon or the Dutch platform bol.com. Both competitors, obviously, they cannot compete with Amazon. But yeah, there's this whole I think there's actually formulas about it that I forgot the name. It's not important, but yeah, I think it happened because people saw that this technology it's solving a problem, and that problem is not I don't have a profile picture yet, but that problem is like what contract is whose and where can we store this? Where can we store it in a safe way? Where can we store this proof of ownership? That is not hackable, that is not, you cannot steal it, you cannot copy it. And I think that's one of the things that people are starting to see now. That's why you see this more utility-driven projects growing faster instead of the profile picture projects. And then there's obviously a whole art side and music side, which I think is going to be very interesting as well with the whole royalties aspect. Talking to some companies that are looking into getting their friends who are like music artists on board with them, and the record labels are not going to like that, obviously, but to every time their song gets played, they'll get a percentage of the royalties, and the artist gets that as well, basically. And everything is automated. It's very interesting. And then you also have real estate, for example, which you could buy a house with 100 friends, and then live off the rent and spread that rent, and that's all possible because of the fractionalization of an NFT. And I think it's going to be a very interesting market, and I think there's still a huge potential.
For sure. Just some really cool ideas and possibilities with NFTs, and we're still so early. So you mentioned some other use cases outside of just artwork. Are you guys, and you may not be able to speak to this, but I'm assuming that you probably have some of these things on your roadmap that, after we're finished with this, let's target real estate, let's target this industry. Are you looking beyond artwork and gaming, as you mentioned?
Yeah, we are. We're looking a little bit more into music as of now. I think because music is a very interesting industry, and then if you go into music, movies make sense, and then obviously gaming, because it's a huge industry as well. I just mentioned that our CTO is working on an NFT marketplace for real estate, Omni real estate token, that's also very interesting. But I don't think we're going to be going into actual real estate, because it's what he told us is that it's regulatory complete hell. So we don't want to do that. But I don't know. We don't know what the future brings us. But I think now what our goal is with onXRP is for all these individual projects and individual artists to have a platform and an ecosystem where they have a complete go-to-market strategy. And I think that's something that's very interesting, to make it, again, more accessible to launch your project. So we're writing articles about all these projects. We're doing podcasts one-on-one about the projects, the people behind it, for them to have a go-to-market strategy, at the same time getting some exposure and our help along the way if they have some questions. And that's why we make the whole customer journey as seamless as possible, also for these projects. And I think that's a good start. That's also mentioned in our white paper, we are going to be launching a play to earn gaming platform where other projects can launch their games on, all getting this ecosystem that is accessible for others. And I don't know if you've ever had your parents or your friends that are a little bit older asking, hey, where can I read more about this? Sure. I never really have a place where I can send them. I don't know about you, but except for Cointelegraph maybe, but that's more like news, but actual place for them to read about everything or read about the ecosystem, it's not really there. And you also you have to go check out Binance for the projects, go check out Cointelegraph for that, and then go check out podcasts for Thinking Crypto, so something like that. But you don't really have a hub for an ecosystem where you can just send them okay, start here, and then when you're educated enough, expand, and that's what we aim to build and what we are building with onXRP.
Yeah, that's certainly so needed, the educational piece. So that's cool that you guys are building that. Okay, I want to hit some wrap-up questions here. First is, if you could create your own metaverse, what would the theme be about?
I'd go for a more post-apocalyptic gaming metaverse.
Very cool. Kind of where you can invite folks in to play with you. And
I'd say you want a more central place where you can have chats with people, have the whole social interaction from each other. And then the further you go, the more into the gaming sector you go. So you can still have a split between gamers and more people that are looking for social interaction. So you can touch base on both people.
Very cool. All right, some rapid fire questions. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite musician or band?
I'd go for Pink Floyd.
Favorite movie?
I forgot the name. I'd say the Interstellar. That's it. Interstellar.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Favorite
Awesome.
book?
The Firm.
And when you're not working on XPUNKs or onXRP, what are you doing for fun as a hobby?
Sleeping.
Awesome. Kaj, great chatting with you, man. You're doing some really cool things and certainly want to have you back on as things progress. But thank you for joining me today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me and have a great day.